Hi friends, welcome to Little Officers, your friends in UPSC preparation. Please subscribe to the channel and press on the bell icon for new updates. In this particular video, recently we have UPSC preliminary examination of 2021. So in this particular one, I am going to discuss the questions and answers of it and proper analysis of it. So in this particular one, we will be looking at subject-wise analysis, then the source. So even though we cannot clear-cut say from where UPSC has taken the question, but somehow we can get some source. It's not completely a random one. So wo wala sources we will look at here. Then the difficulty level of the question, because after this paper many people said the paper is very random and unpredictable and completely no out of the box type of questions, unconventional questions were there. So let us look at the difficulty level of this paper, and then at the final, like it will be like series of videos. So I'll be going with the subject wise, like I'll be starting with polity and governance, then I'll be going to economy and other subjects. Then at the end of the series we will be having a final cutoff prediction, and based on the analysis of difficult level and what could be the reasonable score in that, and if you are in the that particular range, so start with your mains preparation. So that is our motivation here. So let us go and first begin with the polity and governance multiple choice questions from 2021 paper. The first question is, under the Indian constitution, concentration of wealth violates. So obviously the answer is directive principles of state policy, though there is some conflict between option B and D, which is concept of welfare state, but the concept of it is much broader. So the actual one which is mentioned in your source Lakshmikant, so any of the editions, 4th, 5th, 6th edition, if you see in that directive principles of state policy, it is clearly mentioned the concentration of wealth is violative of DPSPs. So the subject is polity and source is Lakshmikant, and it is very static and basic question, and of course it is a factual question, but the level of the question is very easy. Okay, so now going to the next question, what is the position of right to property in India as of now? So earlier it was like a fundamental right, but later it is repealed. Now it has been kept under article 300A. so on these questions are constantly coming, like I think 2007 or somewhat there was a question on right to property. So now let us look at it. So the answer is, it is a legal right available to any person, not only citizens. See, again there is some confusion between citizens and any person, but if you go to that article 300A, the word person is mentioned there, not the citizen. So from there if you can infer, so answer should be B, and the source is Lakshmikant, or you can Google the Indian Qanun website, particularly article 300A, and you get the answer. Okay, and why it is there, what is no sort of nature, it is current inspired one, because recently there was a ruling by the Supreme Court on the private property. The link is given here. If you can go back to this link of Hindu, you can find this. So the difficulty level is, we can put it under easy to moderate level because of this confusion between these two options. That is the reason why moderate, otherwise it is easy question. Okay, next, what was the exact constitutional status of India on 26th January 1950? That is on the Republic Day, that is on the day when we completely adopted the constitution. Please remember, November 26th 1949 itself we have adopted some provisions of the constitution, and that day we celebrate it as Constitution Day. Okay, but however the complete provisions were adopted on 26 January 1950, because there is some significance of this 26 January, because we have celebrated that Purna Swaraj on this particular day in 1930s. Okay, 1930. So let us look at the answer. So on this day, what is the status? If you know the 42nd Amendment Act, okay, then it is very easy, because in this two words like secular and socialist has been added. So if you eliminate that, there will be only two options, out of which the sovereignty is there from the very early times, like the adoption of the constitution. So answer is a sovereign democratic republic is the nature of the state or the status of India on 26th January 1950. So the source is Lakshmikant, and again the nature is basic and factual, but level is difficulty level is easy. Now coming to the next question, constitutional government means. Guys, this is a direct question from NCERT book. Okay, I have given the link of the NCERT textbook here. You just open it and you can find it here. So that is the reason why you have to cover NCERTs thoroughly. Okay, even in this series we have one more question, which is the definition of the state, that is also directly taken from this NCERT books. Okay, so the source is NCERT and the nature is static question and little bit of conceptual one, but the difficulty level is easy. And the answer is, a constitutional government is that government which is limited by the terms of the constitution. Okay, so if you can go through all the options, it is very much clear and it is very much easy question. Next, which of the following Indian polity is an essential feature that indicates that it is federal in character? That is, we have multiple levels of government, state level and central level or union level government. Okay, so again the source is Lakshmikant, but however it is directly inspired from the themes of previous year questions, the questions which is asked by UPSC in the earlier years. So if you can solve them, you can get this sort of idea. UPSC will ask, ऐसे questions पूछता है UPSC कभी कभी. सो ये वाला प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस सॉल्व करना बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है. ये एक आइडिया देता है यूपीएससी वर्डिंग और कहाँ से ये वाला क्वेश्चंस पूछेगा इनसे रिलेटेड. एंड द नेचर इज अगेन स्टैटिक एंड बिट कॉन्सेप्चुअल क्वेश्चन है ये, एंड डिफिकल्टी इज अगेन इजी. द आंसर टू इट इज, in order to safeguard this federal character, we have independent judiciary. If this is safeguarded, then we can ensure that federal character. Okay, so rest of the things you can eliminate, you have, if you have the basic understanding about the federal nature of the government. Okay, now the next question, this is the question I was talking about, the term state, definition of the state. Again, if you go by the definition of article 12, it has a broader definition, but if you go with the NCERT class 11th book, political science book, okay, so it is very much easy and clear cut. It is already given there. So it says that a permanent a community of persons permanently occupying a definite territory independent of external control and possessing an organized government. So this is the proper definition of a state according to NCERT sources. Again, there is some ambiguity. Some sources are saying this one is more proper because it talks about natural rights, safeguards their means of sustenance and all. But however, if you go by that NCERT definition, so this is more accurate. So that's why I'm going with this option. Again, the nature of the question is static, but it is analytical question, because purely because of the kind of options that we have been given here, and the difficulty level is moderate to difficult. Then with reference to Indian judiciary, consider the following statements. Statement 1 is, any retired judge of Supreme Court of India can be called back to sit and act as Supreme Court judge by the Chief Justice of India with the prior permission of the President of India. Yes, it is true. And of course, please remember, you might have some ambiguity, like judges of Supreme Court, they are not eligible for further appointment, but anyway they are coming back to the Supreme Court to do the judgment and all. So that is there, and with the prior consent of the President, CJI can ask them to come back and sit and act. Okay, so that's why it is correct. And again, High Court in India has the power to review its own judgment as like the Supreme Court. This is also true. Like in your 127 article for Supreme Court, which is court of record, similarly there is equivalent article for HSC as well. It is also court of record, and its judgments, it can review its own judgments. So it can have a review petition, even the curative petition can also be given here. So all these facilities are there for a high court as well, like the Supreme Court. So that's the reason why we have both 1 and 2 as the answer. Again, the source I have like mistakenly taken the same one. Here the source is Lakshmikant, okay, and the research judgments, okay, and it is static and as well as current inspired, because there was a review, like High Court can review its own judgments under Article 226 of the Constitution. It is being held by the High Court of Kerala. That is the reason why it was there in the news. So you can say it is inspired from there. The difficulty level is moderate. Now the next question is, with a reference to India, consider the following statements. There is only one citizenship and one domicile. This is true. Earlier there was an exception with Jammu and Kashmir, but 2019 the reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir and taking away that special status under 370, that has ensured uniformity in all the states of India, states and union territories of India. So as of now we have only one citizenship and one domicile. Then a citizen by birth only can become the head of the state. Here the head of the state means the president of India. But if you go through that Lakshmikant provisions on the eligibility to the office of the president, वहाँ पर ये clear cut बताया है, not only by birth, even by naturalization. See, citizenship बहुत सारे तरीके से हम we can get it. So one of them is by naturalization, that is by staying here for definite period and then getting registered. That kind of thing is called naturalization. Even the persons who got their citizenship by their naturalization, they are eligible for this. So this is wrong. And if you can eliminate 2, you will be having that 1 and 3. Again, going back to the third statement, a foreigner once granted the citizenship cannot be deprived of it under any circumstances. So again, this is an extreme statement, like any circumstances. And even if you are aware of the 2019 CAA, okay, constitutional amendment with respect to the citizenship, in that there is a provision that those who have been given the citizenship, so if they violate any law, okay, or if they disrespect our constitution or national flag or so, their citizenship can be deprived, can be taken away. So if you have that idea, you can directly come to the conclusion that only 1 is the answer of this question. So the difficulty level is easy and it is static and basic conceptual based one, and the source is again Lakshmikant, the concepts of Lakshmikant. Okay. Now question number 9. Which one of the following factors constitute the best safeguard of liberty, that is the freedom, okay, in a liberal democracy? So the options are a committed judiciary, citizens, centralization of powers, elected government, separation of powers. See, elected government can be eliminated because you have like Chinese example, okay. So there also elected government is there, but liberty is not so liberal there, okay. Then centralization of powers. So this is obviously it will lead to autocratic government. So we can eliminate B and C. Between A and D there is a confusion, like is it separation of powers or a committed judiciary? See, separation of powers, it talks about like judiciary, legislative and executive, all of them have separate powers. But however, in the Indian scenario we have legislative and executive because of that dual membership of executor, like minister is a part of the execution as well as the legislature. So there is only clear-cut separation of power between the judiciary and the other 2 organs. But however, even though there are no separation of powers, only the commitment of the judiciary to ensure liberty can ensure in that safeguarding. So that is the reason why I am going with a committed judiciary rather than the separation of powers. You might find in some case separation of powers. So let's wait for UPSC to reduce this ambiguity. The source is Lakshmikant, static question hai, basic concept wala hai, and the difficulty level is moderate purely because of this conflict. Otherwise it would have been a very easy question. Then we adopted parliamentary democracy based on the British model, but however our model is little bit different. वो difference क्या है? So the first one is, as regards legislation, the British Parliament is supreme or sovereign, but in India the power of the Parliament is limited. Yes, it is true. If you can remember the Keshwanand Bharati case, okay, where the concept of basic structure evolved, in that it is clear cut said that the amending power or the sovereignty of the Parliament is not there, and Indian Parliament is not a sovereign body. It is under and below the Constitution of India. In India, Constitution is the supreme. Okay, so with that we can say this is correct. And then second statement C, in India, matters related to the constitutionality of the amendment of an act of parliament are referred to the constitution bench by the Supreme Court. Yes, it is true. Whereas in case of British model, the highest court of appeal is Privy Council. Okay. So, but in case of India, it is Supreme Court. So, both the statements are correct, and the correct answer is both 1 and 2. Again, the source like inference can be brought from Lakshmikant. And if you go through the previous year question themes, again, if you have solved previous year questions on polity, okay, these sort of answers, these sort of questions, this sort of wording can be clearly visible, and you can easily come to the conclusion of this answer. The level of difficulty is moderate. Okay. Then 11th question, with reference to union government, consider the following statements. Guys, this is like I could not find any authentic source or credible source. It seems like some random or some report based question. So the answer for this is both 1 and 2, both of them are correct. Okay, and the level of it is difficult. Okay, and it is static and factual based one. Okay, so maybe I would suggest, if anybody is giving who has not read about this particularly, I would suggest them to leave this question. Okay, next 12th question, right to privacy is protected under which article of the Constitution of India? It is pretty much easy one. It has been in the news because of the Puttaswamy judgment, and in that Supreme Court held that right to privacy is part of your fundamental rights, and which is safeguarded under Article 21, which ensures, okay, right to life and liberty, personal liberty. Okay, so again the source you can look at Lakshmikant Article 21, uske andar bahut sari almost 36 other rights have been given which are inherent, which are there integral to the right of life, right to life, and the same you can get it from the themes of previous year questions as well. The nature of this question is static and basic conceptual based one, and the difficulty level is very easy. Okay, then consider the following statements. In India, there is no law restricting the candidates from contesting in one Lok Sabha election from 3 constituencies. Again, I would say 2 points here. There is a law like Representation of Peoples Act 1951. There are some provisions in it. Some sections of it does deal with it. I'll discuss about it later in detail. And second thing is this 3 constituencies. So it was amended in 1996 and made it a cap of 2 constituencies. Now in India, if there is any election, a particular person at max can contest from only 2 locations, not more than that. So based on that, we can make it wrong and we can eliminate the options containing option 1 or statement 1. Then coming to the second one, in 1991 Lok Sabha elections, Shri Devi Lal contested from 3 Lok Sabha constituencies. Again guys, if you know this fact, only ye wala jo tha 2 constituencies maximum wala concept jo tha, that came from 1996. So prior to that it is possible, so it must be true, though we do not know whether, like now we know after googling it, but in the examination this particular Sri Devi Lal we may not know, but if you know this fact it could be possible. So with that we can say little bit of certainty, we can say may be possible. Then coming to the third one, ये वाला देखो, ये कहता है कि अगर कोई एक कैंडिडेट मोर देन 1 कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी से जीत गया है, वहां पर से he has to, like you cannot have double membership, you have to vacate one of the seats. अगर कोई भी जगह पे if he is that person is withdrawing or vacating, then there will be by elections. सो सच बाय इलेक्शंस के लिए जितना भी पैसे लगेगा, जो भी होगा, दैट हैज टू बी लाइक बेयर्ड बाय दैट पर्सन आर द पॉलिटिकल पार्टी, ये वाला ये कहता है, बट इट इज रॉन्ग, इट इज नॉट सो। ओके, सो एनीवे सजेशंस आर देयर कि ऐसे लगाओ सो दैट सीरियस कैंडिडेट्स और मल्टीपल कैंडिडेट्स जो वोट को नो बाइफर्केट करने के लिए, जो कैंडिडेट्स इधर उधर से ज़्यादा नंबर ऑफ जगह से जो कंटेस्ट करते हैं उनको रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं करके देर इज ए नो व्हाट यू कैन से सजेशन, बट हाउएवर इट इज नॉट येट in the legal format. Okay, so with that we can say only 2 is the correct and 3 can also be eliminated. Okay, now the level of difficulty is difficult because of these provisions. You need a broader and deep understanding about that RPA, of provisions of the RPA and about this fact. Okay, that is the reason it is difficult. Then 14th question, a legislation which confers on the executive or administrative authority an unguided and uncontrolled discretionary power. ठीक है, प्लीज रिमेंबर दिस, डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर मतलब जो चाहिए वो कर सके इन द मैटर ऑफ एप्लीकेशन ऑफ लॉ वायलेट्स विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग आर्टिकल्स ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. सी clear cut, even if you know these no grouping of these articles, like article 28 it comes under your right to religion वाले पे आएगा, ठीक है. Then 32 constitutional remedies पे आएगा, and then 44 uniform civil code पे आएगा, and only article 14 is that which talks about right to equality, like 14 से लेकर 18 तक जो है they are right to equality, and article 14 talks about rule of law, that is equality of law or equal protection of the both the provisions inside this article 14. So it clearly says that अगर डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर दिया है, अनगाइडेड और अनकंट्रोल्ड अथॉरिटी दिया है, सो डेफिनेटली इट इज गोइंग टू वायलेट द इक्वालिटी. सो विद दैट यू कैन कम टू द आंसर, एंड इट इज इजियर वन एंड स्टैटिक एंड बेस्ड बेसिक कॉन्सेप्चुअल वाला है. अगर इफ यू हैव सॉल्व दिस प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन थीम्स, you can get this basic idea, you can solve this paper particular question very easily. Then 15th question, which one of the following in Indian polity is essential feature that indicates that it is federal in character? I think it is already repeated, I have already discussed this, so please discard this, I have already discussed this one. Okay, then next question, consider the following statements. Right to the city is an agreed human right. That is the reason why I have kept it under polity and governance, because it is talking about human rights. And the UN Habitat monitors the commitments made by each country in this regard. Okay, then right to the city gives every occupant of the city the right to reclaim public places and public participation in the city. Then third statement, the right to the city means that the state cannot deny any public service or facility to the unauthorized colonies in the city. Okay, so if you look at the statements generally, see even if you have less or limited knowledge about these statements or this particular information, but if you look at it, last wala statement jo hai, it is saying ki cannot deny any public service. Maybe some exceptions ho sakta hai, state has that authority, so even if you apply that knowledge you can eliminate that 3. Okay, and 1 2 are like they are in sync, that is the reason why we are going with 1 and 2. But if you see there is lack of credible source, so something of it is there in the current news. In the Hindu there is this smothering the house rights of the urban poor, that article was there, I'm giving the link of it, you just go through it, you can find some mentioning of this right to the city. However, all these clear-cut provisions like in-depth provisions are not there, so that is the reason why I'm keeping it in the difficulty basket of the level. Okay, so it is a current events inspired question. Then finally this one, with reference to India, consider the following statements. Judicial custody means an accused is in the custody of the concerned magistrate and such accused is locked up in the police station, not in the jail. But see, the source for this is a PDF on frequently asked questions, ecourts.gov.in. I have given the link here, you just go through this link and read about all about your judicial custody. What is it, what are the basic rights that you can get it under judicial custody, and to interrogate that person, what sort of permissions are needed. Actually, during this judicial custody, the police officer in charge of that case is not allowed to interrogate the suspect without the approval of the court. In order to interrogate, the police has to take the permission of that court. Okay, so second is correct, the first one is wrong. So that's why answer is B. And the level of difficulty, because it is little bit unconventional, not from your standard sources or standard books, so the difficulty level is difficult. Okay, and it is current based one, current inspired one. And recently Chief Justice of India remarks on custodial violences. That may be the reason, that may be the motivation why UPSC has asked this question. Then 18th question, with a reference to India, consider the following statements. When a prisoner makes out a sufficient case, parole cannot be denied to such prisoner because it becomes a matter of his or her right. But there are some instances and there are some cases, some exceptions under which we can deny the parole under the suspicion that that person may be a threat. So such provisions are there. For that you can go to this source, Parole in India and Laws Related to It. Okay, iPleader source. Okay, in that it is clearly given, and you can look at the FAQs, frequently asked questions related to parole, and the nature is current. And recently Supreme Court has given some observations and made some observations, sorry, High Courts has made some observations on parole. So that could be the reason why this question has been in the exam. And second statement, state governments have their own prisoners release on parole rules. Yes, it is true. So it is under the ambit of state governments. So answer is only 2, that is B. And the level is, it is difficult question. Then 19th and last question, at the national level, which ministry is the nodal agency to ensure effective implementation of Forest Rights Act 2006, which actually talks about different rights to the forest dwellers, like traditional dwellers and tribal people. So obviously the answer is MOTA, like Ministry of Tribal Affairs. So this is a very easy question, and it has been in the news again and again and again and again. See, many, like Bunny Grassland, there was an issue again, it was there in the news. And Karnataka, like it was deemed forest status kam karna chahte the, that's why it was there in news. And ट्राई फेड के वजह से भी ये बहुत बार न्यूज़ में था, ट्राई फूड के वजह से भी, एंड मिनिस्ट्री का कुछ वन धन योजना करके एक और स्कीम था, उस वजह से भी न्यूज़ में था. So it was there in news as a recurring theme. That may be the reason why it is there. But however, current inspired, but the provisions are static. That's why the nature is static question. So these are all the questions altogether. If you leave that one repeated question in my slides, so there are 18 questions from polity, and the proper analysis, if you see, most of the questions are from easy to moderate level. Okay, except that 4 or 5 questions which are in the difficult range, which are out of the box. So as a whole, you can say it is moderate, easy to moderate, and the polity questions this time could be the saver, like in getting your magic number that is cut off. The polity questions, if you have solved these and if you have not made any known mistakes, then this could save you, and this could get you to the magic number. Okay, so that's it for this particular session. Please like, share and subscribe if the content of this is useful to you, and also like, subscribe to the channel and spread this to your fellow aspirants, and see you in the next session with another subject and the analysis of those questions. Thank you very much.